Advertising. It's an industry that attracts some of the world's most talented artists. Lured by the promise of a consistent paycheck, many find that financial stability comes at a price. Such is the story of Eric Nash. One of the most accomplished artists in the realism movement, Eric spent years applying his talents to create ads for some of the world's biggest brands. And while he achieved tremendous success in the commercial world, the lack of personal fulfillment ultimately drove him to give it all up, choosing instead to pursue a new career based solely on his ambitions as an artist.
Well, I'm from what they call downstate Illinois, south of Chicago, and I grew up in a university town named Champaign-Urbana. I remember at a very early age, I was in nursery school, and I was doing finger painting, and I was obsessed with battleships. And I remember being able to create kind of what I wanted, and I thought to myself, I want to do this. This is great. And I think it was this idea of creating something from nothing that really turned me on as a kid. I got a scholarship to the University of Illinois at the School of Art and Design there. It was kind of a recipient of the Bauhaus culture that kind of was transported to Chicago right before World War II. And so a lot of that philosophy and ideas, and even people that had been connected to the Bauhaus were teaching. And so I got a very, I would call it classical, high quality, almost European kind of education. And so I was very fortunate. In those days, art was not a career. I mean, even if you were really good at it, there was no hope for a career. Throughout my 20s, I kind of drifted around with different projects, different artistic visions and ideas and dreams. I lived in Chicago and, very minimally. By the time I was in my late 20s, I was almost 30, and I just had no opportunities. So I threw myself into more of the commercial realm willingly, and that provided me with a steady paycheck and then allowed me to do, like on my own time, to continue to pursue my artistic progress. So much of the commercial world is involved with meetings and strategy and decisions, and you're just basically a wrist for other people. And I got to the point in, it was the late 90s, where I looked at these guys that were about 10 years older than I was and saw how hellish their life was. They're making good money, but it was like, I can't. I've got to go back to what I started to do. And so I quit. And I thought, I can't do this in Illinois, I can't do this in Chicago. Great city, I love it. But when you're from somewhere, you kind of need new inspiration and new ideas. And California always held this sort of golden glow. And I thought that's the place to go. That's where creativity is front and center. It's not on the fringes. And so we up and left. I quit and cut all cords with Chicago, and started fresh here without knowing anybody 20 plus years ago, and it was the best thing I ever did. I put no pressure on myself other than to start to paint subjects or draw subjects that I really loved, and I kind of decided that I just got to stay true to myself. What am I about? What do I want to do? What interests me? I've always been attracted to things that are sort of quintessential or essential or pure or iconic. I just went back to almost childhood, and I just looked at some of the things that I had painted in the past and why it intrigued me, and I kind of picked up where I left off. And I figured that it would kind of just take on a life of its own, and it would work out, and ultimately it did. When you don't put pressure on yourself and you do what you love, it kind of just has a way of happening organically, I think.